Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to everyone. This is Dr. Mohammad Safdar Bhatti, your teacher and the trainer. First of all, I would like to thank my international distinguished guest, Miss Nosheen Ehsan from Bangladesh and Professor Abdul Wahid from Saudi Arabia. And the topic of my today's session is tips and tricks for listening and reading modules. And under this umbrella, we will discuss about what the listening module is, what reading module is, and what are the types of questions for them. Dear audience, listening module takes about 40 minutes, 30 minutes to listen to a tape and to answer questions on what you hear, and 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. It consists of 4 sections. There are about 40 questions in total. You need to answer all the questions as you listen to the tape. You will hear the recording only once. A variety of voices and native speaker accents are used. Tape is not paused at any time, and you hear it only once. The questions get more difficult as you progress through the test. In section 1, there will be a conversation between two people set in an everyday social context. It can be a conversation about accommodation. While in section 2, there will be a monologue set in an everyday social context. It can be a speech about local facilities or about arrangements for meals during a conference. In section 3, there will be a conversation between up to 4 people set in an educational training context. It can be a university tutor and a student discussing an assignment or a group of people planning a project. While in section 4, there will be a talk. It can be a university lecture. My dear, you have to utilize your time effectively and efficiently. Don't hurry and don't panic. You will be given enough time to go through the question. Utilize this time effectively and efficiently. Make sure when you are reading the questions, you are understanding them too, and thus turning up your time for upcoming conversation. Make sure to note the important points in the questions like dates, places, person names, and so on. Usually, the speaker talks in the same order as the questions appear in the booklet. Don't panic, move ahead if you miss one question. It doesn't mean you may miss the rest of the questions in the sorrow of one question. Remember that the tape is played only once, whether you have catch it or not. Just move ahead. Even if you are not sure of a certain answer, write your best guess and move to the next question. There is no negative marking, and you can't afford to spend all your time thinking over one question. The tape goes on while you think. Be careful of the spelling mistakes and singular and the plurals. These are very important as your correct answer can be marked incorrect if it is wrong in spellings or singular when it was supposed to be plural. While practicing, tune up your mind to understand the plural forms in the conversation. Capitalization is usually not important except proper nouns. Don't bother to answer directly in answer sheet. It is always better to keep answering in the booklet as you listen to the conversation. Because you will be provided 10 minutes to transfer your answer in the answer sheet at the end of the listening module. While transferring answers, make sure that you are answering on the right side of the answer sheet and not jumbling up with the serial numbers. Don't choose answer which contradict the general sense of the listening. Concentrate through the whole exam. If you relax, you end up hearing what is being said and not listening. Practice listening to a wide range of accents. Answers are generally straightforward. Don't expect anything extraordinary. Check spellings, grammar, and word limit. Use a pencil to complete answer sheet and avoid writing outside the space for the answers. What type of the questions will be in your listening module? There will be short answer questions, multiple choice questions, sentence completion, labeling plans and maps, completing notes, diagrams, flow charts, table and summaries. labeling a diagram, graph and bar chart, matching list and the phrases, classification, and selecting from a list. Now I would like to move towards your reading module, which takes 60 minutes, and your task is to read passages of the text and answer questions according to what you have read. It consists of 3 text passages and about 40 questions in total. Your job is to read the passages and either answer questions, label diagrams, complete sentences, or fill the gaps. For every type of task, there are instructions and examples. Passages are taken from books, newspapers, magazines, and the topics are very diverse. Passages progress in difficulty, with first being the easiest and the third the hardest. There is no additional time to copy your answers to answering sheet, and you need to squeeze it in 60 minutes, and you have. Please don't forget to do it. Here too you may write with in pencil only. No pens are allowed. What are its tips and some tricks? Utilize your time effectively and efficiently. Don't hurry and don't be panicked. Don't spend too much time on any one question. Make your best guess and move ahead. You can come back to it if time will be left towards the end. There is no penalty for wrong questions. Make sure that you are not making any spelling, singular, plural mistakes. Your handwriting is legible and you are not exceeding the number of the words required for the answer. Read carefully whether the question wants answer from the passages or from the given options. For sentence completion and paragraph completion, read the entire sentence and paragraph once before moving ahead to the questions. Above all, don't be panicked. Remember that all the answers are there in front of you. It is just to locate them accurately with least time consumption. Make sure when you are reading the question, you are understanding them too. Make sure to note the important points in the questions like dates, places, persons' names. There is no negative marking and you can't afford to spend all your time thinking over one question. Always keep yourself cool, alert, and fast. Answer the questions quickly and accurately. If you can't do a question quickly, leave it and come back it to later. As the passages are long, you don't have to read them in detail. Skim and scan them to find the relevant information. The level, the text, and the tasks become progressively more difficult. Therefore, do the earlier questions as quickly as possible to give yourself more time for the difficult questions. You have roughly 1.5 minutes for each question. You will have to spend just 1.5 minutes. When you finish one passage, check your answers and try to fill any gaps. The questions generally follow the order of the information in the text. However, the questions in one section can overlap another and they may be jumbled. The questions are usually paraphrases of the text, so look for the meanings in the text, not the exact words. Some question types are used to see how you deal with specific information and general meaning. The questions don't test your knowledge of English, but your ability to use your English. The exam is testing whether you can use your English to find your way around a written English text. Always keep some time in hand to go through your answer towards the end of the test. And at the end of this reading module, you should check that you have not made any spelling or singular plural mistake. You have not messed up with the serial number of the answers, and you have followed the instructions carefully and not written 4 words where you were supposed to write no more than 3 words. The incomplete sentences in the question paper make grammatical sense when read complete with your answers. The answers you have written are legible and examiner will not misinterpret it to be some other word. Time yourself when you practice reading. This is most important. But don't leave half your mind on your watch. You need to be fully concentrated on the passage. Start a stopwatch and let it take care of time while you give yourself totally to the passage and related questions. Check at the end of each passage how much time you spent over the entire task. This will tell you if you need to spend up or use. Your speed is just as accurate as you need. What type of the questions will be? My dear, there will be short question answers, multiple choice questions, sentence completion questions, yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given questions, completing notes, diagrams, flowchart, table, and the summaries, giving headings, completing a paragraph, matching names, dates to ideas, matching stems to sentences, matching questions to sentences, and the matching the headings. And thanks for joining me. And so nice of you. That's all from my side. Now, I once again welcome my national and international distinguished guest, Ms. Noshin Hassan from Bangladesh, and Mr. Abdul Wahid from Saudi Arabia, and Dr. Atif Iftikhar from Namal, Islamabad. Yes, Ms. Noshin, what would you like to say about our today's session?
Yes, it was very thoughtful, and it was very detailed presentation, and everything was talked about in what are the types of questions, speaking and reading, what are the things needed the students will do, and it's very important for the students to focus on the questions. In both reading and listening module, the most important thing is to have focus on the question and to know what the questions are being asked, what type of questions are being asked, and what the student has to do. So it is very important to have the focus and to have clear concentration, especially in the reading section, because if you miss out a question, then you lose a mark, but you have to carry on. So concentration is a key factor in listening module. It's very important. And in reading section, skimming, scanning, types of reading skills are very important. The student has to know what are the skills needed for reading section, like skimming, scanning, and all that, the types of reading that's important in reading. So if they know all this, then the time will be less and they can easily fill out the question and without any mistake. And they also have to keep some time at the end to revise the question, revise the answers, and they don't have to and they don't have to get nervous, because nervousness creates problems at the end and it makes results bad. So I think it's very detailed presentation of the reading and listening modules and all the things we discussed very clearly.
So
Thank
nice of
you.
you, ma'am, for your very nice briefing. I hope my students will learn a lot from your side. Yes, Professor Abdul Wahid from Saudi Arabia, what would you like to say about our today's session?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Uh, it's mashallah, sir, great and wonderful session. I like it very much. And the way you summed up the tips and you summarized some of the important points that how students can get ready for this IELTS exam, especially listening and reading. Uh, I like the way that you pointed out that students have to manage their time. The time management is very important in IELTS exam, especially listening and reading, especially reading. I think in IELTS, usually reading texts are usually longer and students usually lose here because they sometimes cannot manage the time, This is very important. So here the students need to integrate all the skills, especially when uh, if they connect reading and writing, the way we write and the way we read, they are connected. Main idea of the text or the thesis of the text, and then topic sentence of each paragraph, and it will be easier for the students that where they can find the main idea and where they can find the details, especially if they know the skimming and scanning. So in this way, if they know the strategies and some of these skills and these tips, they can manage the time and they can do it on time. Otherwise, they will not be able to manage the time, and they usually I know some of the students who lose marks because of the time management. And moreover, I like your point that especially this is a special type of format. IELTS has a special type of format. They don't want to check the knowledge of the English of the students, but rather they want students to use whatever they have in a special given format. So overall, it's wonderful. It's very useful, and if the students know in advance what they are going to do and what kind of questions they are going to attempt, uh, it will be very easier for them. They must know that what is exactly the format of the IELTS test. So thank you very much. It's really very informative.
So nice of you, sir, for your very nice elaboration. Yes, Professor Atif, Dr. Atif Iftihar, what would you like to say about our today's session?
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhatti, for bringing us such a detailed, comprehensive, and so much systematic way of teaching and letting us know and letting us refresh different skills and the students as well. About today's presentation, I would say that all the tips and techniques which you have told are so much useful and beneficial for students while they are going through listening and reading skills for IELTS, the time management which you have told, and you have also told the students that they don't need to get so much panic or feel burdenized. Like they can read the text simply and maybe rely somewhat on their guess intuition as well. And while doing so, they are supposed to manage or write in a grammatically correct way and obviously in a good style with good using good handwriting. And as the Dr. Saab from Saudi Arabia told us that they perhaps not be checking that how much language or how much rich are you in comprehension or intellect, but they would be actually checking that how much you involve your language and your understanding of reading and putting all those things into writing and relying on your listenings. And the things which you have told are simply wonderful, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
So nice of you, sir, for your very nice comments. Dear participants, I hope you have learned a lot from the, I think, points delivered by my distinguished guest, national and the international as well. And I hope best of luck for your future exams. And inshallah, we will meet in your next session that will be based on your writing module and the speaking module. So once again, I would like to cordially thank my distinguished guests for giving us their precious time. And next time, inshallah, we will invite you again. So nice of you, sir. Thank you very much. And Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.